everyone, and welcome to this week's live stream. Sorry, a little bit out of breath because my groceries were delivered literally 1 minute ago, and I was rushing to get them all in the fridge before this stream started. But we're on schedule, if maybe late by 1 minute. But anyway, as you can see, I'm in Blender, and that's because in this stream I've decided I'm going to be updating an old animation of mine for the second time, because I just had a couple ideas on how I'd like to improve it. And in the second half of today's stream, later on, I'm going to open up Krita and work on this personal painting again. But, sorry, still out of shape. That was quite a rush. Had to get a bunch of stuff in the fridge in like literally under 1 minute. But anyway, one of those things I had to put in the fridge was some sparkling ice. One of my favorite drinks. And I'm just gonna have some of that. And then I'll start working on this. Give people a couple more minutes, I guess, to join the stream. But yeah. Not really sure what to say in the meantime. Well, I don't know. Just give me a couple seconds. Technical difficulties here. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, just had to take care of something off mic for a second there. Anyway, yeah, let's get into it. If you have been subscribed to my main channel for a while, or you just have been in one of the Discord servers I recently sent this animation to, you probably recognize this animation. It's an old animation I call Unspiration, which is kind of a play on inspiration, but the idea is basically to express this idea of infinite possibilities but no ideas. And so I had some ideas for how I would like to update this animation again, make it even better. And I don't know how many times I'm going to update this animation in total, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that today. So the first thing I'd like to change about this animation is in this viewport. I'm trying to figure out where the passepartout, or whatever it's called, is at. There it is. Just turn that basically either completely black or just much, much darker. Because having it at the default, doesn't really give me a good idea of what's visible and what's not. So I'm just gonna make the camera basically as close to completely black passepartout as possible, so I have a better idea of the framing, even though I'm not gonna be changing the camera animation at all. But second thing I wanted to change is I wanted to, I had this idea that that over time blue kind of fades to grayscale, so I kind of had this idea of doing that. I admittedly don't have any idea on how I'm gonna do that, but I'll figure it out. That's part of the fun. So let's see, probably a ramp, color ramp, or whatever it's called. Yeah, color ramp, pass that into the factor node. Black and white, that's already good. And then I'll pass that color node into a mix. I'll have it be mix B, and then mix A is going to be this other one. And that way, when I turn the factor all the way down, he's full color. When I turn it all the way up, he's full grayscale. So let me just find a good timing for that. Of course, to get good timing for that, I'm gonna need to probably bring the music back in. I accidentally seem to have deleted the music at some point during my pre-stream preparation, so I'll just add that again. Let's see. It's gotta be in my music, right? Hold on. I know it's called Hub Zero or something. It's a song from an indie student game called Perspective, or something like that. But anyway, let me see if I can just find it in my search application here. Mooglite Sonata Hub Zero is what it's called, so I'll just drag that in from my search application. I don't know why I'm calling it an application. That's like a Macintosh term, and a very dated one at that, but let's see. Yep, that audibly plays, so now I have a good feel for the animation. And I'll just keyframe the fade to grayscale based on kind of what I feel as I play this back. Because I kind of, part of the feel of this animation is kind of, it starts off really zoomed in to where you can literally see the pixels on Blue's face. I don't know why OBS went blank here. Hold on, I just noticed that's a problem that's happening right now. Hold on a sec. Yep, that did not fix it. Why won't it focus on this window? Hold on. I hate when this kind of crap happens. Switch to that window. Maybe it'll wake up here if I actually just close the file browser, maybe. There we go. The file browser was open, and that's why you guys couldn't see a thing. But now you can see what I'm doing. So, anyway, what I was saying is the animation kind of starts off intentionally super zoomed into Blue's face to where you can see the square pixels on it. And that's actually intentional because it's kind of a 3-second foreshadow, as I would call it, where you see the pixels on his face, and then shortly after, as it zooms out, you can see all these cubes in the background, kind of mirroring the feel of like the pixels and stuff, kind of invoking those a little bit. And then as it zooms out further, you start to suspect he's on one of those cubes, and then it's revealed he is on one of those cubes. So I'm thinking with the fade to grayscale, it'll be like maybe halfway through the reveal of Blue being on this cube. So I'll just keyframe there, and then I guess maybe roughly here it'll fade fully to grayscale at that point. Let's see how that feels. Don't mind that random sound effect. That's just an app on my phone telling me that it's fully charged. Have that in place because my phone's been having battery issues lately, so I need to notify myself audibly when it's time to unplug it. Because if I keep it plugged in, the battery's just going to get even worse. So, anyway, let's, now that I'm distraction free, let's try this again. Actually, I feel like this would be a good moment to start the grayscale fade right here. So let's see how that feels. I feel like the fade should be maybe a tiny bit faster, so let's see. Yeah, there we go. Kind of fades at the same rate as hopefully the audience kind of realizes he's on a cube. Like as soon as they realize fully he's on a cube, that's when he kind of starts to fade, and then his fade is complete basically at the same time the cube is fully in frame. So that's good. I think that's good. And so now the other, like another little change I wanted to make is I noticed the cubes are kind of like they're dynamic, like they're moving but not really. Like, they're not actually moving through the scene. They just look maybe a little bit like they're floating because of the camera movement. But I would like to actually edit that so that they actually do move slightly. So I'm gonna actually keyframe them so that they very slowly move downwards during the course of the full animation. I feel like this might be moving too quickly, but maybe if I change interpolation mode to linear it won't be as bad, but yeah, that movement is not subtle enough. I would like the movement to be a lot more subtle, so just gonna maybe just a little bit instead of the full range there. Yeah, that feels better. I'd also like to add some rotation to the cubes. I'm not entirely sure what sort of rotation. I'm thinking of rotating the entire cube cloud, because that'll be the easiest to do. And I think that'll give fairly decent results. I'm also noticing there's some cubes back here that are Z-fining, but never noticed that in the original animation, so I don't think it's that big of a problem. So yeah, the movement so far feels really good. Now I just need to enter to like keyframe the rotation, and then here at the end of the thing I'll just very subtle rotation like that. I think that's pretty good. It's a little sideways drifty a little bit. I'm not sure why, but I think it still works pretty well for the feel I'm going for. Kind of looks like his cube is floating upwards slowly because of how which wasn't intentional, but I feel like it kind of works in my favor here a little bit potentially, because it gives the feeling that Blue's cube is kind of falling askew a little bit. It's kind of tilting relative to the rest of the space, and I think it's a nice feel for the animation. Like, I think I've come across something pretty special here. So yeah, those were actually the main updates that I wanted to make to this animation already done. That said, I also wanted to do the video editing portion directly in Blender this time, so I'm gonna do a new scene here and call it the video edit scene. And I'm just gonna control, well, let's see, where's the cut? I'll just copy that, and then in video edit scene, I'll just paste it. And cool. Now strip, or I guess add, and then scene, and then main scene. I don't know what's going on here. I should probably switch to the video editing workspace here, and then switch this to the video edit scene, and try to figure out why it's just blank. Feels weird. Also, it cuts off way early here, so let's go back to the main scene and see when that ends, because I know it ends a lot later. It's like okay, it ends on frame 3000. So I'll just set that to the same, and cool. The timing's right now. I don't know why it's not visible. Oh wait, I just zoomed into Blue. That's the problem. I don't know how to make the scene view like an actual scene view. Let's see. Preview. Sequencer. View. Let's see. Scene strip display. There we go. Gonna switch that to rendered view. And Blender is freezing. Okay, there we go. Also, the color management is all wrong here, it looks like. And Blender keeps freezing every time I try to scrub the timeline now, so I'm just gonna switch to material preview instead, and that'll hopefully speed it up a bit. Alrighty. And now, let's see, in output, wait, main scene? Why is that main scene? It should be video edit scene. There we go. And I'm gonna select this folder for the output, but then I'm going to output 2026 underscore 4K is where I would like it to be, and then 3840 by 2160 is the resolution I would like to aim for, and 60 FPS would be good, although I don't know if that's gonna cause any timing issues. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it definitely caused some timing issues. there's a way to fix that. Old was, I think, 24. Hold on, yeah. So old was 24, new is 60. Hold on. To look at the color management here. I'm gonna override the thing to be standard view and standard view, look none, display. Why does it still look so gray and washed out instead of what it should be? And also that's completely wrong timing, so time stretching should be more like that. Okay, something's wrong with the color management. Not sure what. Maybe it's in the post-processing tab. No. Follow scene. We'll just have the color management follow the scene, and then I'll figure out how to do the color management on the scene side, but I don't know how to do that. So I know there's got to be something here. I'll just override it again. Maybe there's some hidden setting here. Proxy settings. Nope. Scene strip display. Safe areas, no. Frame overlay, no. Maybe it's... No. 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 Although, the Luma waveform's pretty cool looking. Don't know what it means, but it looks cool. Chroma vector scope. Histogram. I need to learn how all these work because the professionals know, and their work looks a lot better color-wise than mine because of it. But yeah, I'm stumped. I don't know how to make the color management any different. Like, it looks like it's not doing anything here. Maybe if I switch back to main scene and override it to the stuff I want. Nope. That's the weirdest thing. Yep, I'm completely stumped. I don't know why the color management is so weird. Let me just render a single frame and see what happens. Yep, no, the color is still completely wrong. I mean, you guys can't see it, but I'm in the Blender render window, and it looks wrong still, so. Because it's supposed to look a lot brighter. And it clearly doesn't. It's like clearly using a filmic tone map or something, and I don't want that. I want it to just be standard because that's what I made it in and that's where it looks best. but let me just go to compositing and see what's going on here. Compositing node tree. Maybe it's something in here that's messing with me. Because I apparently did some work in here at some point. Oh, hold on. I know there's a way to set the specific compositing node tree per scene or something. And that's probably part of it, is that I'm using the wrong compositing. So, working space. No, that's not gonna do anything. Cancel. If I do curves even, it doesn't actually affect anything. Oh, apparently it does affect stuff, but I'm not really sure. Like, this should literally just be a 6500. I'll just copy that and see if this does anything. Yeah, so I can fiddle around with this and it'll work, but I don't know why the color management, like, this usually is just a simple fix of changing the color management profile. I don't know why it's not doing anything. Maybe it's in the render settings. Probably. But color management, sRG. Aha. There we go. It was in the render settings this whole time. So now it does look correct. It looks exactly as I intended it to look now. And all except for the fact that the compositor, I don't believe, works right now. We'll see though. I'll check that in just a second. Alright, it looks like the compositor does work. So now I just need to add the visual fade thing that I was planning, so. Alright, we'll fade that. Where's the fade button? Usually when I right click a strip, there's like a fade thing I can do here, but it doesn't look like it's allowing me to do that. So let's do it the old-fashioned way with manual keyframes, because Blender is being a butt right now. So let's see. Keyframe to 100 there, and to 0 here. And then over here it's like, yep, right about here is where I want to start the fade out. And actually I kind of want to do the same with the volume. I just want to fade from current frame. So, that didn't work. I'm not certain why Blender is being so strange today, but I'm just gonna have to do things the old-fashioned way with a lot of this for some inexplicable reason. Yep, there we go. And got my fade going here, and then in output settings I want to, or maybe it's render settings, I always forget, but I'm gonna change actually the filter size doesn't matter. that terribly much. I don't really think there's much anti-aliasing, but the thing I was going to check is whether the world background is transparent or not. I want to keep it off because the video is definitely not going to be transparent or anything, so just gonna go to frame 1 and render it to see what color the background is, though. Okay, it appears to be transparent, which is not what I want. I'll actually just go to a frame where it's like partially faded out and check that. Okay, yeah, it is compositing partially transparent, and I do not want that, so I'm going to add a color strip underneath these. Let's move this up, move this down to the bottom. It's the audio, so move this over here and stretch it out to here. And I believe this color is black by default. I'm just gonna change the blend mode to normal. I guess alpha over is Blender's version of normal. Opacity all the way up, so good. Now it is no longer semi-transparent, but let me save the Blender file and double check that. Alright, cool. No more partial transparency here. So just gotta view the final result here. See if there's anything else I would like to change. Rotation on those cubes, even though I thought it was a happy accident at first, honestly kind of takes away from the Dutch angle of the camera, so I'm going to kind of reduce the effect of that. Actually, I'll have them rotate the opposite direction instead, because then it'll be kind of exaggerating the Dutch angle of the camera instead, which is like, I want the Dutch angle because in filmmaking, a tilted camera usually, like story-wise, thematically represents a character kind of not really thinking clearly. It's like used a lot for people going insane, or usually just thematically a Dutch angle in filmmaking is kind of this theme of like something is askew story-wise, even though the camera is literally tilted. It's usually meant to represent that the world is tilted in some way. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but basically I don't want to negate the Dutch angle of this. I don't want to negate the whole tilted camera thing here, because if I do that, it's going to take away from kind of the theme and emotion I'm going for. So, let's see here. Unfortunately, you can very clearly see the Z fighting on those cubes in the background there. So I'm going to have to go into the geometry nodes and tweak things a little bit just to prevent that from happening, if at all possible. None of the other cubes have that problem. It's literally just those. I almost wonder if I can just apply the geometry nodes or something and then just manually edit those specific cubes, but I'll just go into geometry nodes anyway and see if I can fix that at all. Let's see. Gotta bring up my timeline here so that I can scrub to the frame where I see that Z fighting happening, and then fix it. I can probably just literally change the seed just slightly and the problem will be fixed. I'm changing so much that it really doesn't matter the exact position of the cubes anymore anyway, so let's see, I don't see any other Z fighting. Oh, never mind, I see a little bit of Z fighting in the background here, so let's try seed 2. Seed 2 probably doesn't have any Z fighting. Okay, I don't know why I was singing the chicken dance there, but there's some Z fighting here, so let's try seed 3. We'll find a seed without Z fighting eventually. And I believe this may be it. If there's Z fighting, it's not obvious enough for it to matter anymore, so. And none of the cubes are colliding with blue's cube, so that's a good sign. Now, one other change I am wanting to kind of make is that the cubes should start at a slight angle. So they start off kind of already tilted the opposite direction, and they kind of do this. So, alright, save the Blender file, go to the video editing workspace, and see what that looks like now. Pretty good so far. For this re-release of this animation, I'm going to post it on this channel instead of my main channel, because of course this channel is the one I want to post animations on and stuff. When I repost it, I would like to give it a different name than Unspiration, because even though Unspiration is like a funny, maybe slightly clever name for it, given that the whole idea is there's infinite possibilities but no ideas for creativity, it also unfortunately just looks like a typo. It looks like I meant to type inspiration but hit the U key right next to the I, and maybe that's just me, but Unspiration, like, I don't think that's a name that can, like, you can easily grasp the idea of it right away. So I want to rename this animation to just Uninspiration, even though it's not as clever. Like, sometimes being clever is not actually that clever. Sometimes when you try to be clever, it just comes across as trying too hard, basically. So I don't want to do that. I want to just name the animation Uninspiration so that I'm not a tryhard, basically. And maybe that's all in my head, but that's just kind of my thought process here. I've noticed nobody's viewing the stream so far. No chat messages, no views. But I don't care. I'm having fun. So, unfortunately, my usual friends who join the stream haven't been able to this week. They're preoccupied, one with a doctor's appointment, and another with I don't know what. Maybe he's just sleeping in again, or he's busy developing games or whatever, but Shout out to my friends who aren't here because they're busy. Anyway, I think this is good. I think this is a really good update to the animation. I really like thematically how blue kind of fades to grayscale. I feel like the timing of the fade might need some improvement to fit better with the feel of the music, kind of. I feel like that should come later. It is so hard to actually hear the music and stuff the way I have it set up right now. So what I'm going to do is go into the video sequencer here, change that to video edit scene, and that's a little hack that hopefully will work. Good news! It didn't work! Because the timeline is separate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the audio into the main scene, and then in the video editing scene, hopefully the audio doesn't double up or anything, but... Okay, it doesn't sound like the audio's doubling up or getting louder or anything, so that's a good sign. So now I can hear the audio, and I can retime my my animation according to that. I'm noticing there's a bunch of keyframes out here and here. I don't know what that's all about. I feel like it's because I had multiple things selected, maybe. Yeah, that was the problem. So I feel like his fade should be kind of later, like when the lower synth kind of comes in here-ish. Right there is when the lower synth kind of comes in. That's where I want blue to start fading to grayscale. Kind of right there. Yep. I think that'll feel better. Let's see. Let's watch the video and see what it looks like and sounds like. Yeah, I think that's the final version right there. So the next part is the boring part, but since I'm on Eevee renderer, this will probably take only like 12 minutes to render the whole thing. Probably. I'm hoping it's 12 minutes because that's the length of the intermission of these streams, so I can render it over intermission or something. And if not, I'll stop the render before the intermission's over, and I'll just render it off stream later, and then it'll be uploaded to this channel as a video, hopefully, named Uninspiration. And I'll have to look at the statistics on the original Uninspiration videos on my main channel and see if they have comments and views and stuff, and if they don't, I'm just probably gonna delete them off my main channel and keep just this version on my creativity channel. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll keep the old versions and just link to the new version. Even though the views and comments have completely died out by this point, probably. We'll see what my plan is, what works out, what doesn't. That's kind of my style on YouTube, just in general, is I just, as Cave Johnson would say, throwing science at the wall and see what sticks, or whatever. And instead of throwing science at the wall, I'm throwing art at the wall. And animations and stuff. I guess it's all technically a form of art, so it's kind of interesting. I've noticed just in my introspective sessions that I have when I'm depressed at night or whatever, I've kind of noticed I tend to refer to art and creativity very specifically as if they're two different categories. And it's like a weird psychological thing I have where creativity and art are almost separate things, even though art is, like, logically you would think art is a subset of creativity, and creativity is the umbrella that covers everything cool I do. But in my mind, art, like, is weird because even in this animation you can see art and creativity in general are both coexisting here. I've obviously have the drawing of Blue himself here that's actually just a 2D plane that I have that has his picture on it. Yes, he is 2D. I've fooled the camera perspective here. But anyway, there's the drawing of Blue, but then of course the whole environment is 3D, and so I am using both quote-unquote art and quote-unquote creativity together here, yet psychologically for me, it always feels like those are two separate things. Art is the act of painting and drawing digitally for me, and all my other stuff, playing Minecraft, coding for video game development, doing this kind of thing where I'm playing around in Blender, like all those things are just under the genre of creativity, and art is like a very specific part of creativity. And I don't know if it's even a problem necessarily, but it is something I would like to retrain my brain to think about differently, because I would like my art and creativity to just be creativity. Like, I just want them all to be one and the same. And kind of my goal on this channel is I want to inspire people. Like, I want them to basically see my work and feel like they want to create their own work. That's kind of a very, very simplified version of what my goals are, but that's effectively in my whole artistic creative journey. That's kind of my life purpose, I feel like, is to inspire people to be like, I want to be the reason that people create, basically. I just want to inspire people. I want to be the reason that insert whatever here, but I want to be the reason for people. And I mean, in my Christian faith, I kind of feel like that might partially conflict with what I believe in. Like, I obviously want Jesus Christ to be the real main reason that people live and why they, like, who they are and stuff. I want him to be the ultimate purpose in people's lives, but I want to inspire people toward that end with my creativity and my art. I want to show them first and foremost that life can be incredibly meaningful. And that's kind of my whole goal as a person and as an artist and stuff. And anyway, I don't know how I got off on this tangent talking about my life purpose and all that, but But to ground things back in this Blender animation, this is just one small step for a man that will hopefully lead to one giant leap for mankind eventually. I would like to inspire a lot of people. So, yeah, that's what this animation is a small part of. Is the theme of it centrally is just the idea of having infinite possibilities but no ideas. That's like the core thing that I'm expressing through this animation, even in the old original versions. But this new version, I think, like, I thank God for the inspiration I've gotten to make my emotional point come across more clearly with these edits I've done today. Because the old versions of the animation kind of had the bare bones of what I was trying to express, but I don't know if they succeeded necessarily. I mean, version 1 didn't, version 2 did, kind of. I think this version 3 is going to be ultimately the one that works the best. And who knows, I might make a version 4, version 5, version 892, whatever. I don't know how long I'll keep beating this horse, but I mean, I'm glad that I'm updating this. I'm glad that I did what I did today. Darn truckers hitting their engine brakes too loud again. I'm streaming here. Whatever. I live next to a highway, so technically I'm on their land and not the other way around. But anyway, I've run out of things to just randomly talk about. I'm trying to fill up all the time before intermission so that I can render this in intermission. But I'm kind of out of random things to kind of I'm out of filler to talk about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the Blender project and I'm just going to start rendering it. And I'll just do that until intermission, and then I'll keep doing it during intermission. And the cool thing about how Blender and OBS interact with each other in the way I have it set up is, well, I guess it's not actually working that way, but I was thinking, even though I'm staring at the render window, you guys actually get to see the timeline as it renders the timeline, but that does not appear to be the case because the timeline isn't actually animating here. On my main screen, of course, I was just making that mouse motion on Blue's left eye, but in OBS I'm moving my mouse around the playhead, so it's kind of funny, like a funny split view with two monitors viewing the same monitor and stuff. I might actually consider having OBS just running from time to time so I can take advantage of that in my workflow potentially. But it seems to, even though OBS isn't picking up on the Blender render view, it seems that the render view is actually going along pretty smoothly and quickly. We're already on frame 12 here, and I mean, the animation runs at 60 frames per second, so I'm like, I mean, now I'm on 13, I'll be on 14, like, it'll be 20 frames soon, and that's like already a third of the way there, kinda. I'm not good enough at doing math in my head to figure that out, like, right off the bat like that, but I think generally it's rendering pretty quick, which is good, because I'm rendering in 4K, so that can take quite a while sometimes. But the good news is I'm using Eevee as my rendering engine, so it is going pretty quickly. Sometimes I do use cycles just for the lighting to look better, even in my 2D or 2.5D animations. But in this case, nothing really had any lighting. Like, even the glowy effect on the cubes was just pre-baked at one point in a previous version of this project, so nothing actually uses any lighting whatsoever in this scene. So I can just use Eevee, because Eevee is really, really good at rendering emissive and Fulbright textures exactly as they are, without fiddling with any settings or lighting stuff being required. So I really wish I could figure out why OBS isn't detecting the Blender render window as my active window. It would be nice if it did, because then you guys could see it rendering instead of just this tiny little blue indicator toward the bottom of the window being the only indication that anything's going on whatsoever right now. But you won't have to put up with it for too much longer. We're at like only a few minutes until intermission, so I hope that whoever's watching the recording of this stream is enjoying it so far. I hope people are actually watching the recordings of the stream, because they never seem to watch the actual stream, other than my friends, that is. My friends have been pretty faithful to join in whenever they can, and I feel blessed about that. I feel blessed that I have friends that watch my live streams, but nobody watches them besides my friends, and so I'm hoping somebody is enjoying this. I have faith that somebody will stumble across this and watch it for a while, and if you're here watching this, in that case, I'm glad you're here. I'm really happy that you're watching my content, and I mean, I hope that it's inspiring you in some way. Like I was saying earlier, that's my entire goal as a creator, is to inspire people, and so I hope that this live stream brought something to you. It's not about me. The reason I'm glad you're here isn't so that I get one view. It's so that you get something out of this. That's the whole reason I do this. It sounds disingenuous because, like, we're in a world where every time a creator says that kind of thing, it usually is disingenuous, unfortunately. But I actually mean it. I would not be doing this if it weren't for the possibility that I'm inspiring someone. If there was no possibility that someone is getting something out of this, I wouldn't be doing it. It's all about you guys. It's not about me. I don't do this necessarily because I love to do it on its own, and that is actually something I'm working on with my counselor. I have a therapist that I see regularly, but that's something I'm working on with them, is just trying to do things for God and myself more, and not worry as much what other people think. But still, like, a big part of why I do this is also because I want to inspire people. That's my core of the mission I feel like God has given me. So I'm glad you're here. Sorry for all the rambling. That's just how I am. Hope it's charming and not off-putting, but anyway, enough filler conversation. That was my alarm to start the intermission. So I will see you all in about 12 minutes when I, did OBS just freeze? Yeah, it froze. That means my stream probably crashed. Hold on. Let me double check to make sure my stream didn't crash, but anyway, I'll check that in intermission. I hope that if it is still running, that I'll see you in 12 minutes when I start working on this painting. So, see you in a bit. Hello everyone, I'm back, and just a status update on the Blender render. It's about, actually how far done is it? I can't tell. Huh. Actually, it's a quarter of the way done, I'll just say that. But anyway, I'm gonna be working on this for the next half of the stream. Just give me a moment to put my digital artist glove on, and I'll get my tablet in place and everything, and I'll start working on this. During the intermission, I went to posemyart.com or .net or whatever it is, and I rendered a quick reference image for a pose I actually think will work better for blue in this image. Because right now, even though this is a really good, actually really good drawing, I want to completely redo it again because currently it doesn't look quite at the right perspective of what I want. So I rendered this reference real quick, and I'm gonna go ahead and import that into Krita as a reference. Just put it off to the side here, make it a little bigger, and where's my mouse? I don't see my mouse. Oh, there's my mouse. ADHD, the only disability, well, maybe not the only disability, but one of the disabilities where the littlest things can completely derail your train of thought. It's annoying as all heck, but now that I have a reference, I can kind of start to sketch it out a little bit. I'll just go ahead and make this full opacity, however you pronounce that. And I'll just do a little head shape here. Kinda looks like perspective is such that this would be the middle of the face, maybe. Right there. Let me erase a few of these weird lines that kinda make that less clear. Re-add this line, and then do this. Why isn't it drawing? Hello? Anybody home, Krita? What are you doing? Is my whole computer frozen? What's going on here? Where's my mouse? I don't see my mouse. I don't even know where it went. Okay, Krita is frozen. I don't know why Krita is frozen. It just caught up. Glad you could make it, Krita. Waited an eternity. Alright, so now that Krita has caught up to my light speed computing here, I just need to try to remember what I was doing. I believe that, yeah, okay, the last thing I did, I believe, was drawing that perspective line, but I kind of want to put it here instead. And get rid of this here, and put blue's muzzle right about here. His nose would go there. That's too big. His nose is a little too big there. That looks good. His nose is too small. His muzzle in general is too small, too bottlenose. Too dolphin-esque. So let's make it a little bigger here. Maybe less long, because the length also kind of messes with things a little bit. Let's rotate the canvas because I can see better what I'm doing if the perspective is upwards like this. Kind of do that. Do that. His nose is kind of a cone shape. And do this. Doesn't really follow the whole muzzle outline that I drew, but that's alright. This is supposed to be the rough sketch layer and not the line art layer, but I'm adding details and stuff anyway for some inexplicable reason. I should actually stop adding details and actually just treat this as the rough sketch layer it's supposed to be. So I can trace over these details in the layer later, but let's see. The shoulders are kind of no. Or that angle? No, what angle is that? It's like this, I think. Well, time to cheat. Let's see what angle this is. Let's drag the reference image right there and just draw a quick line for the shoulder angle. And then do that. And now the shoulder angle is correct. Who cares if I traced it? It's literally just an angle. It's not like I traced somebody's artwork or whatever, so who cares? No one. Nobody cares. So, at least I tell myself that. Maybe someone cares, but they don't really matter, so. They're nerds. Who cares what the nerds think? Unless they're me, because I'm a nerd, but who cares? Anyway, got the correct shoulder angle now. Now I just gotta do this for kind of the torso shape. Kind of draw that line down the middle to kind of get that in place. And Blue's proportions are not the same as this mannequin's proportions, generally. I haven't defined them in any meaningful, specific way, but I have a pretty good feel for what they should be, so I'm just making sure the angles and stuff are right as much as possible. Because in perspective, like, he's laying on kind of, well, he's going to be laying on this lower part of the hill where it's almost like completely flat to the horizon. So I want to make sure that I get all the perspective right on that. So I'll just draw this little circle and stuff for his pelvis. That, I think I drew that a little too big. Just digital. I can just do this. Cool. Cool. I think that's good. I want to say it's good. So now, just figure out where things are in proportion to each other and stuff. His knee is like next to his foot. Over here, it's like... So, I don't know how to really verbalize what I'm thinking here, but his knee, like the knee of his left leg, is kind of halfway up the thigh of his right leg, just because of the perspective. So I need to basically draw his right leg as if as if it's bigger and longer than his left just because of perspective. So I think his right leg, viewer's left, the lower leg, viewer's lower, his right. Like it needs to be the one I go off of for measuring my proportions and stuff. So I don't know how to mark down where his foot will be. It'll probably be here-ish. And then his right leg, the knee for his right leg is kind of here, which means his foot is just below the other knee, kind of here. I think that looks about right. Proportionally and everything, that looks okay. And then, of course, one of the problems with using a human character as my reference is that humans don't have muzzles. So the way the arm is kind of right up next to his chin, if he had a muzzle, the muzzle would be completely covering his other hand there. So I need to kind of figure out how to work around that. The pose was just kind of something I threw together anyway, so it doesn't look natural even in the reference. But I need to kind of have kind of a similar proportions at least. So I need to make sure, let's see, the hand is basically right there and the elbow is there. And then for this, the elbow is like right here. Let me move this up a little bit, and the hand is here-ish. I think that looks pretty good proportionally, so now I'll just save this and bring the opacity down a ton here, and save again, because now I'm moving on to Blue's actual lines. And first things first, of course, trace the details loosely that I already did, kind of maybe refine them a little bit. Of course, since this is going to be a full painting, the line art doesn't really matter that much. It's just kind of like it's going to be there mostly just to visually remind me, the artist, okay, this is here and that is there. And so I, in my workflow, I tend to do the line art and all the details in the line art, even though the line art itself isn't going to actually be part of the final image, just so that I know what to paint, essentially. My early background in art was always doing line art sketches and stuff on paper anyway, so that's what I've done my whole life, is just line art. So that's what I'm used to. Just a little line for his eyelids here, and then his eyebrows are nice and thick. Blue has thick eyebrows like I do, although my PNG tuber doesn't actually show that he has really thick eyebrows, but he does. He has canonically just eyebrows like this, kind of. And let's see, draw his neck like that, and then his cheek fluff. I don't know how to, still haven't figured out a good way to standardize my workflow for how to draw his cheek fluff, but I'll just do that. And actually something I was experimenting with the other day is kind of layering his cheek fluff like this, but I'll leave it like that, even though it looks ugly as all heck. Like I said, you know, I'm gonna paint this, so the line art doesn't really matter that much. It's just an indicator for me of where things are generally located and stuff. But and then I'll just draw some fluff in his ear here. Erase this and this. And then his other ear, because he's in a relaxed position laying down, I'm actually going to have his other ear facing the other way this time. Something I tend to do is pose both ears facing forward, because I got some feedback from a friend on some of my art previously saying that with the ears facing forward, my art looks more three-dimensional. And I can see that, but at the same time, I think in this specific painting, I really want to show that his ears are really relaxed, because he's really relaxed. And that's actually the best I have ever drawn his hair. Let me just get rid of the underlines here, but I think that's pretty good. Maybe could be a little bit bigger, but gosh, that's pretty good. I hope I can render his hair to look that good, because the line art looks great, but the line art's not going to be part of the painting. So hopefully I can actually render his hair good this time, because that's something I really struggle with when I'm painting. I don't know how to render hair very well, just fur, which is kind of funny. But yeah, fur, hair, actually they're both pretty difficult for me, but at least I have a rough idea with fur. With hair, I just don't know. I just straight up don't know with hair, so it's kind of difficult for me. Draw the collar of his shirt. And kind of gotta close a notification there. I'll respond to it after the stream. My counselor was just texting me asking about a meeting time. Now would be a good time to look at my reference. Let's see. Because I need to figure out kind of the shapes of his muscles and stuff in this pose that he's in. Especially in the perspective. It's a little bit weird, but I think I've got it mostly here. I think I just need to do that. And then his far arm is the really foreshortened one, so it's a little strange, but it's kind of, get rid of all this because that's wrong. It actually kind of does this sort of thing, almost like one big shape instead of two separate sections. But and then his hand is even weirder here. Not sure how I'm going to pull that off convincingly. It's kind of like that, but that doesn't look like a hand to me. It doesn't even look like a hand in the reference to me. It just kind of looks like he's a Lego minifig. Just has a claw hand. it's like I have to figure out how to make the thumb look convincing, like look shorter, or at least look like it's foreshortened and not just that his hand is literally shaped weird. And that, like, hands are always so difficult because there's so many little pieces of the foreshortening and stuff that need to be considered, and it's hard to really figure out how to foreshorten hands because of all the little fingers and stuff that they have. But I think I've almost got it here. The way it attaches to the wrist isn't too terribly convincing here, and I'm not really sure why. It could definitely go out more here though, and then maybe I'll just forget the reference, because the reference is not helping here. I'll just do that, and then I'll do my usual hand shape. I don't want it to be foreshortened in perspective here, kind of a mitten shape. That doesn't look too bad. And I'll just do that, make that less of a mitten shape and more of a thumb shape. Do that. And that. And let's actually do the mirror trick, see if it looks okay. Yeah, it looks okay. So, at least well, I say that, but then I doubt myself. I think the fingers look okay. Just need to do that. And then, I mean, honestly, in the rendering, in the painting, I don't know if I can make it look good anyway, so I'll just save the document here and try to focus on the frontward hand, which I think will be a lot easier because it's a lot closer, so it doesn't tend to look like a Lego hook hand. Hook hand? Claw hand. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 fingers! Maybe I need to spread them out a little bit here. Let's see. Kind of put that there. Put that there. That's a little too thin. But let's see, this is not thin enough. Let's see. This is tricky. Because there's, like, it's very easy to mess this part up. I probably already have, but yeah, that thumb is massive. I'm just gonna, well, his thumb was massive, but that's because his hand is too small. Let's try this again. Here, let's do this, and do this. No, do this, and do this. That doesn't look too bad. It's not good either, but doesn't look too bad. His little finger here is the part that really irks me, though. It kind of looks too thick. I feel like it needs to be thinner, but now it looks crap. Looks really bad. Maybe it's a proportional issue, and these fingers just need to be longer. Also, there's like a subtle thing going on here that makes it look bad too. So I'll just fix that the best I can. His thumb looks wrong now. That doesn't even look like a thumb. It looks like an insult to humanity. That looks better, kinda. And I'll do this little bump on his wrist here, because I just feel like it should be there. I think that looks decent for his hands. It's the best I can do. So I'll move on now to the rest of him. I kind of, even though he's wearing a shirt, I kind of draw little indications of where his chest is at and stuff, because the ribs kind of would go up like this, even though in the sketch I drew them all the way up here. That's not correct, I don't think, unless it is. Let me double check that. Yeah, that looks okay actually. So his ribs are kind of here, so that means that this goes in just slightly here. I erased a little too much there. And then this also goes in just slightly. This actually goes in too much down here, so and then I can get rid of that indication line that I drew. And now I draw this part of him. I think it actually goes up here, even though the basic sketch shows that it's all the way down here proportionally, and I should still try to match it with the initial sketch, because the initial sketch looked good. It's kind of not working out. Like, he clearly needs a stomach here, but I'm not sure how to do that right off the bat. Just kind of fiddle around until it works, I guess. That's what I usually do, so his pelvis is like here, and then do that. That's not, I don't think that's anatomically correct at all, but I'm getting there, just little by little, refining until it looks good to me, and then I'll get feedback from my art tutor on Thursday about it, probably. I'll probably show her my progress on this and see what she thinks. this leg goes like probably somewhat like this. Actually, give it a slightly thicker thigh. And erase this and this. Do this, and I mean, yes, I'm drawing him as if he doesn't have clothes, but that is just part of the artistic process of making sure the underlying geometry is correct before I put clothes on top of it. So just trying to make sure everything looks okay, and I think it mostly does. I just need to pull this in just a little bit here. Pull that out a little bit there. Pull that out there. It's too big, so I'm gonna slim it down a little bit. Then I'm just gonna erase this curve, forget it ever happened. And I think that looks okay now. So I'll just go ahead and save the document. What time is it? It's 1:44, so about 20 minutes left in the stream. This is the part of the stream where I start to lose my energy a little bit. I wish that would stop happening, but sometimes I use my keyboard, sometimes I use my remote. But I've noticed in my workflow, I just kind of use the remote and the keyboard interchangeably for some tasks. I'm not sure what determines if I use one or the other. Just whatever feels good in the moment, I guess. Maximum efficiency. That toe doesn't look right. That doesn't look right either. I think it's because I'm not following the kind of outline I already put in place, and I also wasn't following the perspective very well, so nah, that looks horrible. That doesn't even look like his foot. It looks like he's wearing a very weird shoe. So maybe I should just extend his toes out a little bit here like I did with the other foot. Just kind of do this. Although that doesn't look right either. So I'll do that. And that does look a lot closer to what I want. It's not perfect, but yeah, that's kind of the artistic process in general for me. Just, it's like whittling. I was in Boy Scouts, and I used to really enjoy whittling with a knife once I learned how to do it. I've since forgotten, but it's art and whittling sometimes feel like the same thing. You just take a tiny bit at a time, and just slowly carve it out, and pretty soon you have a little owl or whatever, a little figurine of whatever made out of wood, and that's what drawing is like for me. I just take it a whittle at a time, and and eventually it comes out looking pretty good. So, yeah, just making sure that everything still looks good, and then now I'll actually put a shirt and pants on him. Not really sure. Sometimes that's another thing I struggle with this character design, is where the sleeves should fall, and also how to make them look convincingly wrinkled and three-dimensional and not just like weird body paint. Alright, little detail here, little detail there. Sleeve kind of connects underneath his armpit there. I think I'll just draw his sleeve like that and like that. Kind of the inner line there. And then kind of get rid of this crease here. Smooth that out. Touch. And I can get rid of the anatomical details now, since I don't need them anymore to mark kind of what I'm looking at and where. And I'll just bring his shirt out a little bit here. Kind of like that. And the other side of his shirt that goes in like that probably isn't going to be visible from this angle, so I don't need to worry about that detail on the other side. I need to kind of draw the rim of his shirt here. Border, whatever it's called. And save the document. And now I draw his shorts, which are pretty much the same principles as his shirt. So, especially since he wears cargo shorts, he kind of has pockets on them that stick out a fair amount from the shorts. So it doesn't really follow the exact shape of his body. Do that, and then this other pant leg would be here. And then just bring that in like that. And honestly, I don't think I'm doing very well with the clothing here, but that's something I can refine next time I work on this, I'm sure, when I'm a little fresher and didn't spend the last hour and a half, well, 2 hours almost now, working on other artwork and stuff. But when I have more energy, I'll definitely revisit his clothes. Right now, I'm just kind of putting in placeholders for what I'll later refine into something that looks a little better. I hope I can remember that they're placeholders though, because sometimes I forget that it's a placeholder and I just paint over the crappy line art and I end up with artwork that doesn't look that great. But like this pocket, this pocket looks too horrendous even for placeholder, so I'm just gonna get rid of it altogether and redraw it a little bit, kind of maybe a little smaller, and then like that. That looks okay, I guess. I think the way I redid his crotch wasn't correct though. So just I'll have to take some pictures of myself later and see kind of where the folds of my own shorts fall and stuff, and also the folds of my shirt, and import that into Krita as a reference image, because that's something a lot of professional artists will do. They literally just take pictures of themselves when they can't find the exact pose on the internet or whatever, and so that's what I'm going to do with this. Probably I'll just take a picture of myself in this same pose, and then I'll have a good reference for the lighting and my clothes and stuff. But that's now that I've finished this drawing more or less, even though I will be refining it either next stream or between streams. Like that's where I'll leave it for now. So we have like 5 minutes left in this stream. I hope whoever was watching the recordings of the streams, I hope you really enjoyed this. I don't think I have enough energy to go for the last remaining 5 minutes of this stream, so I'll probably end it 5 minutes early. At that point, it's kind of acceptable. It's only if I ended a half hour early or whatever would I be more concerned. But I mean, I think 5 minutes early isn't really that big of a deal. So, especially since the only person keeping track of my schedule is me. So, and really the start time is more important than the end time for these. So, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed watching this stream recording. Nobody showed up for the actual live stream, but that's fine. I hope you all enjoy watching the recording, watching this video. If you enjoy this content, stick around. I do this every Tuesday, same time, same place, and I'm glad you're here. I just want to reiterate that. But until next stream, I think I'll just take a break for a while and work more on this art when I have my energy back. But anyway, I'm kind of bad at outros, so I guess I'll see you around next time. Thanks for watching. See you around. Bye!